Donnie, how are we doing this evening? Thank you so much for joining us.
We're doing good. It's finally quit raining here in Kentucky, and the forecast is looking better, and we're looking forward to a great event this weekend.
Go ahead and get the rain out of the way right now. You know that might be tricky for some of the farmers doing their thing, but get the rain out of the way right now so that way it'll be, green flags and tight chains on Friday and Saturday. What are we doing to make sure that the track is where it needs to be? I mean, is it just taking the weather right now, or are you concerned about that at all?
It's just taking the weather right now. We roll it down after every event, and I bring Jim Miller in. He's the best track builder in America, and he'll be here to help us Thursday night, and we'll make the best track we can. It's a good track for Kentucky, and we have a great show. It's just most of the farmers around here want to know when I'm going to have the event every year because they know they can expect some rain whenever I'm planning a tractor pull.
That seems to be the sad truth of how truck and tractor pulling goes. They had the pull down in Columbus, Texas this past weekend, said they hadn't seen moisture in months. And then they go down there to have their pull and they get rained out Friday night. Part of the sport, part of it, you just deal the cards that you're dealt and you make the best that you can out of it. I want to talk about this Hansel Sullivan Memorial Pull. Give me the rundown of what it means, what it stands for, how long has it been going? How did this thing come to be? Give us the short history on it.
Well, my grandfather is Hansel. That's
sure.
Shane's dad. And he used to help with the tractor pulls here in the county years and years ago. And he always wanted to have a pull that could, like, we don't charge the competitors any entry fee, it's a TNT sanctioned event, and we cover the cost of the per hooks. So we get a lot of out of towners and so forth. He always wanted to have a pull where it didn't cost the competitors any entry fee and pay at least $500 to win. And back 30 years ago, that was a big deal. So after he passed, I used to help him with the pulls back then. And I just said, we're going to do something in his memory. And we started that. And the Big Ed Challenge, it's a two-wheel, we've been in the two-wheel drive game since it started. They made the first set of organized rules in our shop. And most of those rules are still the same as they were then. And Big Ed was my uncle, and he won the first 5 farm machinery shows. And he died at an early age, so we wanted to do something for him for the two-wheel drive trucks. And we do a deal like Bowling Green, like a ring type deal where you combine the both finishes from both nights. And that's how the Big Ed Challenge works. And, we've had pullers from all over. I mean, the TNT guys are great. They work with me and help me, and they got a good group of trucks. And we bring in, you never know who's going to show up, honestly. I mean, you'll have the best of TNT, you'll have Pro Pulling League and NTPA. I'm pretty sure Chase Richardson, the champ from NTPA, will be here, and I'm pretty sure that Jason Sullivan, the corn burner, might be here, or Jared Nelson. I mean, there's going to be some big hitters here. And, a lot of people don't get tired of the two-wheel drives because there's so many of them, but it's the most competitive class in pulling. It's it's what we're known for. And, if you like two-wheel drive trucks and want to see the best two-wheel drive competition other than maybe Bowling Green, you're going to see it in Glencoe, Kentucky this weekend, because, you'll have 25 or 30 everywhere we go at an NTPA show, but you won't have the best from Pro Pulling League, TNT, Ohio State, Mid-South. I mean, we get a mix of everybody, and it's tough. I mean, the Petros, they're good friends, and they're close by, and they'll be here. And Randy Petro is probably the best ever, in my opinion. And we'll have a good class of two-wheel drive, but we have other classes as well. We'll have light limited supers. That's a popular class for TNT and in Kentucky. And then we'll have 3.0 diesel trucks. And then we'll have the long wheelbase blown four-wheel drives, which it's a unique class, but it's known for our area. And they put on a great show. And then Saturday night, we're running a light modified class that we run our tractor in. And I know there's capable of having a good class and a good group of tractors in that class as well.
So you guys are known, your family and your team, you guys are known as essentially creating the super modified two-wheel drive truck class. I mean, it all kind of started with your dream and your vision, your family many years ago. The track where we're going to be pulling at in Glencoe, could we kind of surmise and say that this is where two-wheel drive truck pulling was born? Is this the first track that ever saw super modified two-wheel drive trucks?
No, it's
okay.
I mean, actually, it was in Indiana, Vevey, Indiana. Across
okay.
Like, I could show you, but I'm afraid to move the. I mean, I live right on the river in Indiana.
Okay.
Right across a couple miles.
Sure.
It's right in this area.
Right.
Right here in my shop I was a kid, and my dad and my uncle and my grandpa. How two-wheel drive started in our area, and for what we know, it started as a bet. A fellow that worked for my dad said that he could outpull somebody's four-wheel drive. Four-wheel drive trucks were
Oh, sure.
And he took this two-wheel drive, and my dad and grandpa told him to put the hitch as high as you could because there wasn't any rules. And he backed up to the sled and had several slots, and as he put it as high as he could get the chain, it damn near turned over. But
right.
He beat the four-wheel drive, and then that's when they thought they needed to make some rules. And they had the first. I remember being a small kid, and they didn't want to limit it to one engine. That they said that was ridiculous. Didn't need that rule. And my dad had a twin engine tractor at the time, and so they said, well, you ain't no way you could ever get the front end light enough. And he asked my uncle in the meeting, what's your front of your two-wheel drive weigh? And he told him, and then he told him what his front of his twin engine mod weighed.
Yep.
And right then they said, oh, we got to eliminate it to one engine, which that's been a real blessing because like them or hate them, two-wheel drives, the rules are the same everywhere. I mean,
it's the only class. And when I get online and I read, the different forums and different chat groups online, one prevailing theme is, why can't we get the big three professional associations, lock them in a room together and just standardize the rules, because there's always a slight difference. And that is the equalizer about the super modified two-wheel drive truck class is it's unanimous, pretty much nationwide. So when you have an event exactly like what you're going to have this weekend, the best of the best can all show up and throw down equally, and that cream is going to rise. You talked about it. You said it's the most competitive class in pulling. It is. It's the hardest to win because since it is unified, you go to Bowling Green, you've got to survive 60 competitors if you're going to walk away winning it.
Right. And, I'd be surprised we don't have at least 30 here. I'd say somewhere between 30 and 40 will be the number. The least we've ever had in 26 years is 18, and the most we've ever had is 39. But I know everybody's hungry right now because a lot of competitors are, they're getting geared up for Farley. I mean, 50 grand's a big deal. Hell, I'm excited about it. And the funny thing is about our poll is everybody said, oh, yeah, we're coming to test. We're coming to test. And we always test. Everybody tests. But they're coming to, if the NTPA guy is coming to beat the PPL guy, and the TNT guy that doesn't run against the NTPA or the PPL guy all the time, they're going to prove that they're competitive. I mean, there's a lot of stuff run really hard here, and it's a good event. I mean, it's a ton of work. I honestly say every year I'm not doing it anymore, but we do this. We 100% of the proceeds after expenses are given back to local groups and charities, uh, baseball, softball, any food pantry, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's not a huge fairgrounds. It's it's a good little pool, and we're proud of it for what we've built it into. And I think we'll have a good turnout.
I want to go back to one thing you mentioned. I'm going to stick with my history lesson here for a little bit because I tend to geek out on that, and then we'll, continue to talk about where this pool is going to go in the future. You mentioned, I thought this was neat. One big thing that sticks out to me about the two-wheel drive truck class is the high hitch height, coming in at the 30-inch hitch height as opposed to, maybe a 26-inch hitch limit. And you said kind of day one, the concept was put that hitch as high as it can go. So even though obviously they did have to lower that and put wheelie bars on there, they still kind of knew, and that kind of foreshadowed the idea that that's going to be a big part of this class. And I've heard people have debates before, could the four-wheelers beat the two-wheelers today? Between the blower motors and that high hitch height, I mean, I don't know that it would be a competition, but it's neat that, the high hitch was something they wanted early on, and that stuck out as, a part of this class here 50 years later.
Yeah, I'll be on, like in Kentucky years ago, we had a run what you brung class, and they still do it up in northern Ohio, but they, to my knowledge, they won't let the two-wheel drives in that class anymore. But a two-wheel drive will, on the right track, it's hard for a twin engine modified for it to beat a two-wheel drive, and it'll beat the pants off a four-wheel drive.
Now, I imagine, I mean, seriously, between, you're looking naturally aspirated versus supercharged. Right. You're looking at a 26-inch hitch versus a 30-inch hitch. They're a class that I have re-fallen in love with. There was a point in my career where I was like some other people, and I thought, oh, okay, there's so many of them, and they all finish so close in distance. Maybe this is a good time to get up and stretch my legs. And I don't feel that way anymore because they're so stinking competitive. And I feel that if you walk away, you're going to miss the winning run at any point. So it's a class that has me glued to the pull and to the screen when I watch it now. Let's talk about the mod a little bit. We've got the picture of your whole family up here. This is pulling at the National Farm Machinery Show. Now, you guys are doing the light mod class. So you're going to run the twin engine setup on Saturday night. Is that correct?
That's correct. We've ran 2, 3, 4 with our mod, and last year we ran the light mod and the big mod, and then we ran some outlaw mods, and I think we were pretty competitive and pretty average in both classes, and we've decided to just run 2 engines this whole season.
Okay.
To try to be better. I mean, it's, in my opinion, it's hard to be really good in 2 or 3 different classes. So we're just trying to focus on 2 engines. And I like the light mod class. And I honestly think the light mod class would be better if it was the outlaw rules. I mean, you might get a little variety, but it is what it is. But I do like the light mod. The sled guys can you'll get the 2 engine class is a lot better show than the unlimiteds, like them or not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm going to modify.
Sure.
But we'll run twice as fast, and the sled can still has a little stopping power to stop you. The unlimiteds or the big mods, back when we used to run the PPL with the unlimited overdrive and so forth, they have to let the sled so heavy that it's just a drag. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great show, but you don't get near the speed you get with the lighter equipment. And there's a lot of new tractors being built, and I think the outlaw class and the light mod class that will be the premier mod class within 2 years. Simple for the ride of it and the affordability of it. It's a lot cheaper to run 2 engines than 4 engines. And, pulling is not known for huge purses. We're kind of all foolish for what we spend and do on this. So, we're excited to have switched the mod up. And my dad, he's going to drive it again. He's 80 years old now, and he loves to go pulling, and we're excited to go.
Obviously, I'm a little bit biased here. You can see the banner hanging behind me. I spend my summers traveling, announcing, working with the Outlaws. But I do like what you said, that 7,400-pound class in a world where everything's going to kind of meet in the middle eventually, which is where I think pulling is going to go in the next 20 or 30 years. The twin engine, with the variety of the industrials or the triple Chevys at 7,400 pounds seems to be a very logical meet in the middle kind of area. My question for you, because I was curious about this when you guys went to Texas last year. So you go down to 2-engine setup, but you get to weigh in at 7,400 pounds compared to 6,000 pounds. Did you kind of scratch your head and say, where do we put all this weight? Or did the tractor like being weighted up? Was that a challenge? Was that kind of a technical curveball to make that adjustment?
Oh, that's a major challenge. If you're going to run the light class, you got to get light. And when you run the heavy, we honestly had weight. We had the front full and the back full.
Sure.
We didn't have a lot of room for how we was going to balance it. It just, if you wanted to run the full weight of 74, you just had it all over.
Sure.
And that's a lot of guys, like, we haven't ran enough of either to be good in either, but we like to go pulling, and I'll be honest, the Outlaw people, they treated us the best. And everywhere you go, pulling promoters and groups are good to you, but that's a good group of people, and those guys in that tractor class out there don't get me wrong, they seen us come in, and they were glad we were there, but they were even gladder that they beat on us.
Well, sure. I knew those Texas guys in their own state, they were going to roll out the welcome mat, but they weren't just going to hand you the medal at the same time. So it made for top-notch entertainment. Must see TV from watching it at home for sure.
And we were close in Whitewright.
Yep.
And we went to Lufkin to beat them.
Yep.
Boy, we were way off.
Well, it's I like what you say. It's hard, when you're trying to run mod and light mod and then Outlaw 7,400. I like what you guys are doing this year. So you guys, to the world, in case you guys missed it, folks, we're talking with Donnie Sullivan right here. We're promoting the Hansel Sullivan Memorial Pull, but we have said that the Kentuckian is going to be strictly 2-engine this summer. Let's get back to your pull really quickly. Jason, if you want to throw up their poster on there, I want to talk about Friday night and Saturday night classes. Donnie, you guys are doing something unique that I noticed. Your Friday night lineup and your Saturday night lineup are not the same lineup of classes. Your Friday show and your Saturday show will actually be kind of two different. It's not a double header, so to speak. Talk to us about that. Yeah, here we have Friday. We're going to go limited pro stock trucks, super mod 2-wheelers, and then light limited supers. Then we're going to go with those super mod 4-wheelers, the 2-wheelers, the 3.0 trucks, and then the light mods are coming in, getting some variety. Tell us about the decision behind that.
Honestly, until just a few years ago, the only class that ever hooked both nights was the 2-wheel drives.
Okay.
We always had variety from both nights. And I don't know, I think that, we try to bring in top level competitors from all over. And we got a lot of good friends in Poland that will come and support our event. And then we got a lot of good friends from here. Like, we run a lot of TNT pulls and local pulls. And, if you don't support where you're at, you might not have anywhere to go someday. And, Eddie Carey and his group, them guys are good to us, and they got a great thing going, and they got a great group of trucks. I mean, if you think them TNT guys won't give you an education, just go to a pull or two. I mean, the Carries and the Stevens and the Poors, and they're good pullers. And then it'll be a good mix in our class. And then I don't really know much about diesel trucks. I know that he's got a good group of these 3.0s that support him. This is the first time we've ever ran 3.0 diesel trucks both nights, but it seems like a crowd pleaser, and it's different. And you gotta have a little variety. You gotta have a little smoke.
Gotta have smoke with your noise. Absolutely, you have to have some of both. That I'll tell you this: that 3.0 truck class, I think that is the fastest growing, both in fan popularity and just amount of drivers. I think that's probably the fastest growing class for the younger generation in pulling. I mean, it seems like you just throw a rock and it bounces off a 3.0 truck these days.
Yeah, the 3.0s. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And there's a couple that are local here in this county or the next county over, and it was a big debate because I got a good friend that's got a super modified 4-wheel drive that we're running them just on Saturday, and they run everywhere with TNT.
Sure.
But, the diesels, I think I'll have more in the class, and I think it'll be a more fan draw. So that's why I ran them both nights, and I'm catching a little grief from him and his wife, but he's a good friend, and we'll work it out. Like, we're only running our mod class one night too, so it's all good.
Yeah, it all comes out in the balance. You talked a little bit about the TNT, and I think TNT, and I'd also put Mid-South in there. Two of the saltier regional or state level pulling associations out there. I mean, like you said, they're going to be going up against the NTPA and the PPL guys. It's going to be some serious competition. Of course, it's all going to be live streamed too on fullpull.live. So folks, if you can't be there, be sure to log on and watch that. Give us the quick logistical rundown. Give us a start time both nights. Give us the cost to get in. What do the fans need to know to be ready to have a great time in Glencoe, Kentucky? One of our fans commented earlier, said, not Glencoe, Minnesota. You're not going up and hanging out with Ricky Rose. Hopefully you don't ever put that in the GPS incorrectly, when you're coming back, from a pull sometime. What do the fans need to know to have a great time in Glencoe, Kentucky?
Yeah, we're going to start at 7 p.m. on Friday, 6 p.m. Saturday. Glencoe's centrally located between Cincinnati and Louisville, right off Interstate 71. It's a nice little fairgrounds. It'll be a good pull. There'll be a lot of top-notch competitors here, and thank Full Pull for doing what they do. We're going to have Dan Meyer, and I don't know who else is going to be with him. I know Jason's going to do some track interviews, and I know the champion Chase Richards is going to be here. Everybody will be gunning for him, and I'm going to put a special call in to try to get Donald up here to crew chief for Chase, because he really likes working with Chase. And but we're going to have a good group of pullers, and if you like the classes we're going to have, we'll be glad to have you out. And somebody put on there, Jeremy Krieger's going to be announced.
Yeah.
Somebody talked about, will we come to Rock Valley? That's on our schedule for this season. A lot of it depends on how we're doing and what we got broke. My son's playing. He's playing, like, we met in the middle at Whitewright, and he's planning on coming to Rock Valley this year and wants us to come out. And from what everybody's told me, that's the premier outlaw pull, and I hope we can make it. It's just a matter of, we got to get started into the season and see what we got tore up and how good we are. I mean, I'm not going out there to let them guys beat up on me unless I'm ready.
Chris Kilbarger's got a great comment that we need to get to. What year did you start pulling your first black S10? And tell us the history of that. Did you sell it? Did you build a new one? What's become of it?
The first black S10 was my Uncle Eddie's. That was the original Sullivan Chevy S10. That was in the mid 80s. I ran it to the farm show like 1986 or 87. I was 16 years old, I guess, at the time. I started with a single engine modified because back in the early days, my dad had mods and my uncle had two-wheel drives, and we just couldn't afford to modify. We either had to go big or stay home, and we decided to go the two-wheel drive route because it was a lot more affordable. So we bought my uncle's stuff and went that direction. But the two, trust me, I like the mod class better.
Okay.
But the two-wheel drive class, period, is the hardest and the most competitive class in pulling. And you see a lot come and go, but to be able to compete at the high level on a regular basis, you gotta keep your ducks in a row. I mean, there's only a few that do it. I mean, you see a lot go up, down, everywhere else. I mean, you gotta respect the Petros. I mean,
yep.
Randy was the best, and Jesse's damn good. But I mean, it's just and you know, there's a lot of the Nelsons, the Petros and the Nelsons, and then 10 years before that, it was Roger Simon. I mean, he gave us an education. I mean, now RJ never could quite give us an education, and I'm good friends with RJ. But, now
I like the call out right there a little bit. I hope he's watching. Maybe you can go up to Farley and tell him to get his notebook out, and you can continue to give him an education.
I hate to say anything because I've been really, I've won 2 or 3 of the last 4 at Farley. And my wife says I can win anything for $900, but when it's 50 grand, some will fall off. And that's probably true, but I like Farley and the Simon, RJ and Brandon for what they do for the sport and to take a chance on what they're doing. I was one of the first to sign up. I got a lot of grief because, you know, they had haters and so forth. And I don't necessarily agree with the whole format, but I think it's a new format. And if you're a pulling fan, you got to get behind it. I mean, I don't think it's the do all, but I think it's a great deal for pulling, and I think it could elevate it.
So I want to backtrack a little bit too. You've talked about how, you know, how competitive and how challenging it is to win the super modified two-wheel drive truck class. There's over 200, I think it's almost like 260 super modified two-wheel drive trucks in the country. So you would think that just based on the law of statistics and averages, with this class being as tight as it is, that to see certain drivers elevate themselves, to kind of watch the cream rise, almost wouldn't happen. You'd almost think you'll throw all you guys in a hat every night and you're just going to pull out, you know, whoever happens to be there. But as this list shows us, you know, I love that Full Pull is doing these driver rankings. Certain people find themselves winning in a place where, you know, it should just even out because there's so many of you. A lot of you guys, you know, the cream certainly does rise. When you saw this list come out and you saw that you and Jesse were 1 and 2 on this this driver ranking, this fan, or not the fan vote, but the peer voted list, what was your gut reaction to this? You know, when you saw, okay, this is how people view me, these are how my competitors view me, what were your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, it was an honor to be on that list. I mean, I could think of 25 more that's deserving. And Jesse, a lot of that, in my opinion, is name factor. I mean, Petros have been doing it a long time. We've been doing it a long time, and Jared's been doing it a long time. And we've all won championships, and you know that's made a difference. And Chase, you know, he's an up and comer. He beat me this year. I mean, I won last year, and he beat me he was in the lead, and I had a chance to get him, and I just dropped the ball. And but you know, Chase and Richardson, and not Richardson, but McDonald, they had a great program this year. But you know, everybody on that list, but I could think of 25 more that are just as deserving. I mean, but I mean, it's the Petros. They'll be here this weekend. I haven't talked to Jesse in a month or so, but I'd be shocked if they don't show up, and I'd be shocked if they don't get something in the top 3 or 4. And
I've got one last question, you know, about this as well before I let you go. So we saw the top 5 list. Tell me a driver not on that list, outside of that list, that if you're sitting in the lead, if this driver still hasn't hooked yet, you say to yourself, this lead's not safe? Who is someone that makes you nervous? Who would be your next one on that list?
Probably in the last few years, it'd be Jason Sullivan, cousin Jason. I mean,
okay. Yeah. In the corn burner. Yeah.
I mean, if he's on, he's going to come by you. And
he was. I was shocked not to see him on that list when I did my review on it. That was one that I thought we would see on there.
And I tell you another one that doesn't get the credit because they don't run the big series and they will wear you out is the Timmermans. I mean,
sure. Yep. Up there out of Wisconsin. Absolutely.
Hot and nasty truck. It's really mean, and Wayne is sharp, and they're really good. And it's hard to run local and then go to a big pull and beat the big pullers, and they do that. And that helps. Everyone's a cousin of Kentucky. Yeah, they're right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's having some fun in the back room. Hey Donnie, thank you so much for coming on tonight. I know that we ran you a little late and kept you a little longer than we told you that we would. I know it's a ton of work, but we thank you so much for everything that you do to promote this pull and just to keep the great sport of pulling going. You know, we need people like you that fans can get behind. We need to see the big wins out there. Best of luck this weekend. You said green flag drops at 7:00 on Friday night, 6:00 on Saturday. Glencoe, Kentucky. If you can be there, be there. And like I said, good luck on your season, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Absolutely.